Oh, come on, PJ. You're giving us clickbait. You're giving us a clickbait title just to get a cheap way to get views. Yeah, I was the creator of the internet commerce boom. Please, please, don't insult our intelligence. Well, you know what? The amazing thing is that I was the creator of the internet commerce boom. And it's I'm not going to give you any caveats or disclaimers like, oh, I was the creator of the internet commerce boom in my home. No, I was the creator of the internet commerce boom. And in this video, I'm going to show you how it happened. And not only that, I'm going to give you a way for you out there to prove or disprove my story. Now, the reason I have told this story before to several of my friends, but now I'm telling it to the general public for the first time. And a reason why is basically two reasons. Is one reason is a very good video I saw recently called "The Incredible Story of the PayPal Mafia," and I have a link to it below. By the way, I'm going to show you a couple of excerpts from it because it's important to my story here. And the other reason is that because this my YouTube channel here has grown to the extent that I sort of have a forum to reveal unto all the peoples of the world how I was the creator of the internet commerce boom. So, and that started. I'm basically what I'm telling everybody is I'm ground zero of that internet commerce boom. And just like the universe had a big bang, you know, and you go far enough back in time, you have that tiny little point where the big bang started. Well, guess what? With the internet, same thing with the internet commerce boom. You go back in time to early January 2000, and that little pinpoint, that point where the big bang of internet commerce boom started, you're looking at it right now, right here, me. I started it, and I'm going to explain to you. And you can actually check out my story for yourself. Oh, and by the way, I'm sure a lot of you liberal journalists out there, you have a real big incentive to check it out. I mean, here, after all, for at least a dozen years now, I've written hundreds and hundreds of stories exposing media bias, and now here's your opportunity to prove me wrong, to ruin my credibility. You know, oh, CJ, oh God, this is so great. This is so great. This guy, this clown, this right-wing monster, he's claiming that he created the internet commerce boom. Oh God, we're gonna make him into such a fool. We're gonna prove him to be a liar. Oh. Well, yeah, well, guess what? I'm gonna show you how you can do that and find out the very depressing truth of what happened. Is actually very depressing for you, not depressing for me, because you're going to find out it's all too true. So before we go further, let's take a look at the state of internet commerce in general, and PayPal in particular, back just before the year 2000. So let's take a look at that story from the incredible story of the PayPal Mafia.
And this story begins with Palm Pilots. A Palm Pilot was a specific kind of a device called a personal digital assistant, or a PDA. You see, before the smartphone era, PDAs were cutting-edge handheld PCs with the ability to connect to the internet. They were truly awesome for the time, and they were getting popular by the late 1990s. And it was in 1998 when Peter Thiel and Max Levchin decided to develop technology to allow person-to-person payments via the use of PDAs, namely Palm Pilots. Back in those days, sending money to someone was inconvenient compared to today. You were limited to cash or writing a check, and if you were far apart, you had to send it through the mail. Over the years, credit and debit card infrastructure expanded, but they were only limited to merchants. So with Thiel and Levkin's idea, people could beam money from one another through an app on their Palm Pilots, essentially creating a digital wallet.
Okay, so there you saw where PayPal was at in just before the year 2000. It's basically up to December 1999, and it was pretty limited. basically with those Palm Pilots, the problem was, and by the way, they emphasized using it for beaming payments at restaurants. Problem was, A, you had to have a Palm Pilot. B, the owner of the restaurant had to have a Palm Pilot. And C, both of you had to be registered with PayPal. So, as you can guess, rather limited use. And that's where old PJ comes in. So what happened in 1999 is I had a friend of mine named George who lived near me. He had an office right near where I lived, and I used to go out walking for exercise and stuff. And I used to run into him all the time at his office there. And he was very knowledgeable about computers and the internet. In fact, he taught a part-time course at McFadder Technical College. He taught a course on computers. His name was George. I can't remember his last name. It was a Polish name. Oh, now I can see the liberals going, oh, yeah, he's obfuscating. He won't even give us the last name. Well, I'm sorry. It's like, 20 years? Can't remember his last name. But guess what? He isn't all that critical to the story. He's sort of what introduced me to PayPal. And by the way, I will give you a name. I will give you a name. First and last. Oh, how I'm going to give you a name. But let's get back to what happened with George. So George, one day, mid-December, around 1999, he told me about this new service he had signed up with called PayPal. And it sounded interesting, but what was really interesting, he says, yeah, and here's how it works. When you join up, you get $10, and a person that referred you, he gets $10 too. So, you know what? Give me your email address, and I'll send you an email with my referral link, and you'll get $10 for signing up, and I'll get $10 for referral. And guess what? You can do the same thing. So I thought, wow, yeah, that's pretty cool. I'll do that. But here was the thing. I told George this too. I said, listen, could I just wait a couple of weeks until after the first of the year? And a reason why, do you remember that Y2K? It doesn't seem like a big deal now, but back then, leading into Y2K was like a Y2K apocalypse, It was being hyped all over the media. The Y2K, so all the banking systems could go haywire or whatever. Of course, that turned out to be about as real as Trump-Russia collusion, which was also hyped by the media. So anyway, I said, look, as soon as we get to the year 2000, everything's fine. I'll go ahead and do it. So that's exactly what happened. I waited. New Year's Day. The world was still here. We didn't have the Y2K apocalypse. So I went ahead, either that day or maybe the next day, January 2nd. I signed up through his link. So my friend George got his $10. I got my $10. And then I started doing the same with friends of mine. I think the first person was Ken Norton. Notice last name, I can remember it. Okay, big deal. Again, he's not important to this story. Ken Norton. And then I did it with all my other. Over the next few days, I was emailing my everybody I could think of. So made a few $100, with the referrals. But the problem was, at some point you start running out of people to contact. So that is where I started. See, now I was selling lots of t-shirts at that time on eBay. So I started thinking, eBay, why don't I do something with PayPal on eBay? So let's take a look. Let's go back to the PayPal Mafia video and take a look at what was going on with PayPal and eBay.
Now back at Confinity, the company was working hard creating their person-to-person payment service. Since they were initially targeting Palm Pilot users, they created the online service that we are all familiar with as an afterthought, and they named the service PayPal. With the PayPal online service, people could transfer money with or without a Palm Pilot. The service was free, and similar to X.com's incentive, Confinity gave people $10 just for registering, and they also gave $10 for referring others to register. And this would be a critical element down the road. And at some point around early 2000, Theo found out about X.com's entry into the payment service, and that got him very upset. And that's when the competition really started to heat up. Despite offering limited services compared to X.com, Confinity remained viable due to their marketing efforts and their penetration into the user base of eBay. At this point, eBay was around for about 5 years, and they were growing tremendously. By the year 2000, eBay had over 10 million users, exploding from just 2 million from the year before, and they were hosting an average of 3 million auctions per day. And eBay users were the perfect fit for the person-to-person payment services offered by Confinity and X.com. You see, most eBay users didn't sell enough items to qualify for merchant accounts required to accept credit cards. They were merely regular people selling things. Before person-to-person payment services, buyers had to mail checks or do money orders, and this added about a week to the waiting period before the seller could receive the money and for the buyer to receive the item. And when Confinity realized the potential with eBay, they shifted all of their marketing efforts into targeting eBay users. Their engineers developed an auction logo insertion tool, which allowed eBay sellers to add an HTML PayPal logo to their auctions and help them earn the $10 referral bonus.
Stop the music, stop the video, stop right there. The engineers developed a PayPal logo. Well, let's get a little more specific. It wasn't so much a logo, it was a banner. And where did the engineers get the idea to produce a PayPal banner for eBay? Where, who, how, where did that suggestion come from? Oh, right here. Yeah, you're looking at it. Let me explain how this happened, and you're going to get your name. You can check on the story and verify it and the whole bit. So here's what happened. As I said, after I sort of ran out of contacts to make my referral money, I started thinking, why don't I have do PayPal with my auctions? It's like great. First of all, instead of going through snail mail and receiving checks and stuff, I could have the buyers just buy instantly from me. Then, on top of that, when they sign up with PayPal, I get $10 referral. And even better, to make it a complete win-win situation, they get their sign-up bonus. In fact, a lot of my t-shirts sold for under $10. So that would actually just pay for it was like getting a free t-shirt when you signed up. So what I did was, first I did a little research. I did a search. I went into the search engine on eBay, and just to see, I was just curious, how many people are using this PayPal? Well, I was shocked. It was less than a dozen. I think it might have only been half a dozen, but it was definitely less than a dozen auctions at that time in early January 2000 were using PayPal. And the problem is that they had it in their description, like, oh, I'm using a PayPal, it's a great system, blah, blah, blah. Here's my link, just sign up. And I'm thinking, well, wait a minute, I would be wary of that. I would be wary of a seller. I don't know who they are. It could be some sort of scam. There's lots of internet scams, So I started thinking, I can't just, if I ask people to do it, maybe 1 in 20 might do it. That's not good enough. So I started thinking, what about if you have a banner and you click the banner and it takes you right to PayPal, you sign up, and it automatically credits me with the $10 for referral. They get the $10, and it's such a win. And then it's so easy to send shirts out. I mean, I don't have to wait like a week, sometimes 2 weeks for the payment. So what I did was, as soon as I had that idea, I looked up more information about PayPal, and I saw that the marketing director, I figured the marketing director would be the person to contact. So I emailed the marketing director. The name, mark it down, write it down, Jack Selby, Selby. So I emailed Jack Selby with my idea about, setting up a PayPal banners for eBay auctions. And then nothing. Didn't hear from him. A couple days, I think a day or two goes by. And I'm thinking, geez, that didn't, I really wanted that banner. I was thinking about, of course, yours truly. At that time, I wasn't thinking about, creating internet commerce. I mean, being the big bang of it. So anyway, after a couple days, I got on my phone. I felt like such a schmo, I'm going to call him out of the blue. I mean, please. So I called up, asked for Jack Selby, and to my shock, I got right through to him. No secretary, nothing, just boom, speaking. at that time, believe it or not, PayPal was small enough you could do that. Get right through to him. Imagine that today. But anyway, I got right through to Jack Selby, and I'm really excited. As you can see, I'm a little bit hyper. So I'm saying, oh, listen, I sent you an email, and believe me, it's a great idea. You need to set up banners so people can click, and I'm going on and on and on and on about it. But now I wasn't face to face with him, so I couldn't read his mood. But somehow he wasn't saying too much, or actually much of anything at all. So I'm sensing, oh my God, I'm thinking this guy's thinking I'm some sort of maniac. Oh. So then he thanked me, we got off, and I thought, oh man, I got blown off. Like this guy must think I'm a mental case. But it was a great idea. Am I right? So anyway, another day or two goes by, and I says, God, I blew that. Maybe I should have been calmer. Maybe I should call and just real calmly explain the situation of why a PayPal banner on eBay is so important. So I gather myself. I calm down, PJ. Make your presentation like a normal human being. So I get on the phone, I call him up, get right through to him, and I go berserk again. I couldn't help it. I couldn't help myself. I mean, it was like, basically I was telling him, like, I'm not crazy. I wasn't saying that, but that was like my attitude. Like, please believe me. I'm going, no, I know it didn't sound like a crazy idea, but believe me, it's a good idea. It's a great idea. You got to do this. And then meanwhile, Jack Selby's going, okay, listen. I go, what? Finally, I calm down enough. He goes, listen. I said, yeah? He says, that was a terrific idea. We loved it. We turned it over to the engineers, and the banners are up now. I said, are you kidding me? The banners are ready now? He says, yes, thank you that was a fantastic idea. And he said, told me, he says, we have a limit on how many referrals you can do, with your free, but because you came up with the idea, we're going to give you unlimited, as many people as you can refer, you can earn the money on it. I go, wow, that's great. And then, of course, I immediately started doing that. It was the easiest thing in the world. I started putting up the banners on my T-shirt. I got more and more T-shirts. I even I had a friend of mine, an elderly guy. He collected. He had hundreds of pretty good used rock and roll T-shirts. I put them on for on eBay for like 99 cents each or whatever. I didn't care because I was going to earn. I was saying I only use PayPal. Yeah, I'm not going to use checks no more. So you want to do it, got to use PayPal. Oh, PayPal payment only. So anyway, what happened so I was getting a lot of stuff on. Then on top of that, and then I was also going to Salvation Army and buying cheap used T-shirts there and selling them cheap. I didn't care. I didn't care if somebody bought them for 99 cents. I was earning the $10 there. More than covered everything. So, and then on top of that, I really started buying a lot of 99. I started buying stuff. I would tell the people, the sellers, I would say, listen, I want to get this quick and use this PayPal. Here's a banner, etc. You're probably starting to see it. So, when you get the PayPal set up, let me know. Here's the link. Of course, I would get the referral fee, and then when I did that, I bought the 99-cent refrigerator magnet from them. As a result, my refrigerator is completely covered front and sides with those refrigerator magnets. So anyway, what happened was, as I told you, that's what kicked off the internet commerce boom. When I looked on eBay, there was only not even a dozen, maybe half a dozen auctions using PayPal, and those didn't have any banners or anything, because I was the guy that came up with the banner idea with just the sellers putting the links in. So what happened was, from that very few handful of auctions using PayPal, when I first looked into it, by March of that year, of 2000, there was over 300,000 auctions using PayPal, and that it was what generated, and from that point on, that's what generated the internet commerce boom. And it all started with my suggestion to PayPal, which they took, which I called up Jack Selby about, to put the PayPal banner, use PayPal banners. So now you know that story. Now, if you want to check out, it's not like Jack Selby is hiding out in a jungle island somewhere in the middle of the Pacific. No, he's very easy to find. Here, I'm going to show you. In fact, he was in the news a couple of years ago. It was kind of interesting. He was leaving tips of $1,000 and up. So let's take a look. Oh, and take note, Pastor Charles Hendrickson. You want to see this too. It's kind of interesting. And I'll get right back to you and we'll finish up. Okay, so let's look at what Jack Selby, who was formerly the marketing director at PayPal, has been up to. And this is a really interesting, great story here. Here we go. This is from Business Insider, November 2017, so not even 2 years ago. And it says, the diner who has left waiters thousands of dollars as tips for Jesus reveals himself to be a millionaire tech exec in the PayPal mafia. And here we go. Jack Selby at the screening of Freeheld. So let's just, real quick, we're just going to get a little bit of background on him. Sounds like an interesting guy. And the generous tipper behind Tips for Jesus has finally revealed his identity. Starting in 2013, someone began leaving tips of more than $1,000 and often up to $5,000. The mysterious tipster would document his generous ways on an Instagram account and sign a receipt, Tips for Jesus. Oh, here's an example. And here we go, a little more about PayPal. Jack Selby, a venture capitalist and former vice president at PayPal, has long been rumored to be the man behind the tips. However, it was only this week that he confirmed his identity. On Thursday, the New York Post reported that Selby had been spotted leaving a $5,000 tip. Wow. After buying $100 in drinks at a bar called Geyer's in New York City. On Friday, the Tips for Jesus Instagram posted a photo of the article, seemingly confirming finally that Selby was the man behind the account. So there we have it. That was a really interesting one. But wouldn't you like to be a waiter, his waiter? I mean, come on, 5,000. Even I take 1,000 tip. That's pretty good. You know what's interesting is you're always, whoever the waiter or waitress is, they're always going to remember that. That's kind of interesting. Great guy. Okay, so now here we go. A little more updated information on him. It says after leaving PayPal, Selby started macro hedge fund Clarion Capital Management with tech investor and now Peter Thiel. Currently, Selby is also the managing director at Thiel Capital. Okay, so those of you casting aspersions upon my veracity, really isn't that tough to get in touch with them and verify my story about who came up with the idea for the PayPal banners to be used on eBay. Okay, so now you know how the internet commerce boom started with moi. Okay, so as I said, he's not hiding. He's with the Thiel, Mr. Thiel now. So you can find him very easily to verify the story. All you liberal journalists out there anxious to discredit old PJ, it's not going to happen, by the way. And so I'm not asking for anything. It's fine. I like the idea that I started the internet commerce boom. But you know what? The next time any of you out there, just simply point, click, and get your stuff through the internet, just keep in mind the person who started it all at the very beginning. Right here. See you later.